All right, everybody. Good morning. I will have your exam 3 graded and returned to you on Thursday. We will be working on chapters 13 and 14 for our 3 remaining class periods, right? Today, Thursday, and next Tuesday. So the chapter 13 assignment will be due next Monday evening. The chapter 14 assignment will be due on Thursday, right at the same time the final starts. Okay. So let's talk for just a second about the final exam. It is a week from Thursday, 10 to noon. I want to give you a full 2 hours for the final exam. So in case any of you have a conflict at 11:15, let me know and we can get you started a little early or something like that so that we can get you your full 2 hours. It is comprehensive, which means it covers material all the way from the very beginning of the semester. So we've sort of been naturally building on a lot of things as we go, but you still need to go back and review your first quiz, your first exam, all that older stuff to make sure that you still know how to do everything. Okay? So it'll be covering everything. It will also cover material from chapters 13 and 14, which we're doing this week after the third exam. Don't forget, the percent that you get on the final exam will replace the lowest exam score if there's an improvement. So the final exam is still worth its own 150 points, so it's worth a little more than the other exams were. And no matter what, you'll always get a score out of 150 for the final exam. But assuming you do better percent-wise on that final than any of your other previous exams, that percent will replace that other previous exam. Okay? So if you got a 60 on exam 2, for instance, but an 80% on the final, exam 2 will also become an 80% then, for instance. Okay? So the way it works, most students, almost all of the students in the class will do better on the final exam than at least one of their other exams. So almost everybody has that replacement that happens. In case you do not do better on your final exam, it's still worth its own points out of 150. It just doesn't replace one of the other exams then. So go back, use those study guides that we have for exams 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Get out those actual exams. Use those to diagnose, again, the things that you're having trouble with so that you can prioritize your studying time a little bit. I have also now posted a study guide for chapters 13 and 14 that says exactly what you need to be responsible for the material that's after exam 3. Okay. The final exam is going to be 50 multiple choice questions only. Okay. So it's only going to be multiple choice, no short answer, and no show your work problems. However, several of those multiple choice questions themselves will be calculations, okay, that you'll have to do. That's just how that works. So, but there are 50 of them, 3 points each. That's where the 150 points for the actual exam comes from. Now, you will be allowed one 3x5-inch note card for the final exam. So as you are preparing for the final exam, use that as a place to put the things that you're having trouble remembering, right? So that can be a great way to do that. It does have to be handwritten, so no computerized microprinting or anything. It's okay if it's two-sided, but it does have to be 3x5-inch. Or no larger than 3x5-inch. And it has to be readable with your own normal vision, so no microscopes, no enormous magnifying lenses, so no microfiche. So yeah, that's the final exam. It's going to be entirely multiple choice questions, and the questions will be in pretty much the same style as the questions that you're used to at this point. None of the questions will be exact with what you've seen before, but there really shouldn't be any surprises. Okay? I'm basing it off of what I think is the most important information, and I pretty much use those study guides that I make as I'm preparing these exams. So, who has any questions? That. Anybody? That sound good? All right. Well, if you think of any questions, let me know, or we can talk about it later too. Now for a bit of good news, we do have, especially if you're foreseeing yourself sort of on a borderline, I'm going to be updating the grades, of course. I'll be getting all the grades up to date when exam 3 is graded. But if you foresee yourself being sort of on a borderline, I would highly recommend you doing these 2 extra credit labs. So there are 2 of them. They're worth up to 5 points each. They're experiments 11 and 12. They're actually in your lab packet already, but I also have electronic versions of them in the content area of Brightspace. You do them at home. They're actually kind of fun. One of them involves dissolving the shell off of an egg. The other involves chopping up some red cabbage and using it as an acid-base indicator and testing the pH of various things throughout your house. So they're actually kind of fun, and especially if you got some kids around, this is a great way, as long as you're safe, to allow them to be helpful and have a nice, fun activity to do. So do them at home. You are totally free to work together so that you're only messing up one person's kitchen instead of both of your kitchens, maybe. They're kind of messy. But each student needs to hand in their own worksheets. Okay? So a lot like lab. The worksheets then are due at the final exam. So within the lab packets, there's a pre-lab, data page, post-lab. All of that needs to be completed, okay? And the whole thing needs to be handed in. Okay? So those are due right at the start of the final exam. I'll have a box here to collect them. You can hand in all hard copies if you want, or you may upload them to a Dropbox that I've created inside of Brightspace if you want to do it electronically. One issue is you're required to take pictures at certain points in the procedure with some sort of identifying information so that I know that you actually did it. So follow those instructions carefully. If you want to just do all hard copies, you can feel free to have actual photo prints made. I know not a lot of people do that anymore, but believe it or not, you can take your camera or your memory stick to Walgreens and they can actually print real pictures for you. It's amazing. So you can do that if you want. Or if you've got all the pictures on your phone or something like that, feel free to upload them to the Dropbox and you can be paperless if you want. Or if you want to do some combination of paper and Dropbox, whatever, as long as you hand it in either as a hard copy or to the Dropbox by 10 a.m. on the final exam day. Okay? So if you're interested in doing that, though, get going on it, especially the one involving the egg. It takes a couple of days. Okay? You have to leave it soak overnight for once, and then you have to leave it soak overnight again. So that's not going to work if you start that one the day before the final exam. So get right going on that one, on the egg one, especially if you want to be doing that in time for the final. Okay. So, questions? Good. All righty.